Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our regional roundtable on research needs and opportunities in Asia for national implementation plans under the Stockholm Convention. My name is Anastasia Buchok, and I'm very pleased to welcome you on behalf of Green Growth Partnership, GGKP, which is hosting this event today as a part of the Global NEP Update Project, GEF ID 10785, funded by Global Environment Facility and led by by UNEP. Through this project, 32 countries are currently updating their national implementation plans. And while these countries are making significant efforts to collect the data, to compile the data on the persistent organic pollutants, we recognize that many face challenges in advancing beyond the Tier 2 of POPs inventories, and largely due to limited data availability or technical and institutional capacity constraints. And the idea of today's roundtable came during the regional training we co-hosted with the BRS Secretariat in November in Kenya last year. And after this event, which featured valuable insights from many researchers and the laboratories, we received a strong feedback from our countries in Africa, emphasizing the need for more scientific and policy communities. So we indeed hosted such a regional roundtable for Africa last week, and I think it went really great. And we are hosting this event specifically for Asian region. And we also know the BRS Secretariat is actively working to strengthen the science policy interface. And this roundtable aims to contribute to this vision. So today's discussion is intended to warm up the dialogue between the science and policy. So science will meet policy and policy meet science today in the contents of POPs research in Asia region. So we are very pleased to feature the presentations from countries, from Stockholm Convention regional centers, research groups, institutions, and laboratories across the Asian region. And the session will be moderated by Dr. Roland Weber, leading international expert on POPs, who has helped bringing together all these speakers and the stakeholders from whom you will hear today. Thank you very much, Roland. So a few quick housekeeping notes. The event will be held in English with interpretation available in French, Spanish, and Russian. And after the presentations, we'll open the floor for discussion. So if you'd like to join the dialogue, please raise your hand and keep your hand raised until the end of this session. Then you will be promoted as a panelist and you can join and speak. You'll also be able to submit your questions via the chat or the Q&A box, and we kindly ask that you introduce yourself when doing so. And finally, please note that the session is recorded, and both the recording and the slides will be shared with all participants in a follow-up email or on the project website. So once again, thank you very much, everyone. Please feel free to start introducing yourself in the chat, and over to you, Roland.
Yeah, thank you, Anastasia. Good day, everybody. Yeah, very glad that you are here, that you are joining us today. The topic of the last conference of parties last month in Geneva was making visible the invisible. Here, research, analytical chemistry, and monitoring are important tools to make visible the invisible. But there are a range of gaps, especially in low and middle income countries, in Asia, on POP research, and in particular analysis of new industrial POPs. So, but when you look here to the Stockholm Convention, text here to Article 11, there is a dedicated article on research, development, and monitoring. So here the article says, the parties shall, within their capabilities at the national and international level, undertake appropriate research, development, monitoring, and cooperation pertaining to POPs, and also to their alternatives and also candidate POPs, including on their sources and release into the environment, their presence, levels, and trends in humans and the environment, also on their environmental transport, fate, and transformation, and for that, using harmonized methodologies for making inventories of generating sources and also analytical techniques for the measurement of releases. Next slide. So you see, the Stockholm Convention has a dedicated article, and in second part of the article, it encouraged that parties shall, within their capabilities, so that's very important, that is always within their capabilities, to support and further develop as appropriate international programs, networks, and organizations aimed to defining, conducting, assessing, and financing research, data collection, and monitoring. Also taking into account the need to minimize duplication of efforts. So therefore, it's also very important to bring here countries together in the region, that they can exchange with each other to minimize the duplication of efforts. Also support national and international efforts to strengthen national scientific and technical research capabilities, particularly in developing countries and countries with economy in transition. This means also here the Stockholm Convention asks for support to countries which need a research capacity by other countries which have research capacity. So you see, this is the foundation also today of our roundtable. And take into account the concerns and needs, particularly in the field of financing and technical resources of developing countries and countries with economies in transition, and cooperate in improving their capabilities. So therefore, we have brought together today invited distinguished speakers on the topic on POP research needs and opportunities, where we hope to initiate a dialogue between countries and research groups with research needs and other groups with research opportunities, and to progress and develop of a network of POP researchers and research groups here in the Asian region. Coming now to the first speaker, that will be Dr. Victor Hugo Estrellano Schulze. He is a program management analyst at UNEP in Geneva, and a leading person in the global monitoring plan. So over to you, Victor.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you to GGKP for the opportunity to present the work here. And as Roland just said, I'm going to present the work of UNEP related to POPs monitoring global, and with a specific point on Asia Pacific also. So next slide, please. Here, what I wanted to show you is the experience that UNEP have gained during the last 25 years. We started with the UNEP WHO Human Milk Survey. This was when the Stockholm Convention was at the very beginning. And when the Stockholm Convention in 2004 was ratified, UNEP have activities under the scoping study. This was to explore the needs of the developing countries, and also to pilot objectives identifying POPs laboratories around the world, and all the work that been done around POPs. After 2004, 2009 to 12, UNEP have a first GMP project to global monitoring of POPs in 31 countries in Africa, Greenland, and Pacific Island. And in this, we assess the POPs at that time, and with support from SciComm and Norway, the government of Norway, and EU, etc. And at the same time, there was 2 rounds of interlaboratory to assess the capacities, not only in the region of the project, but global. In 2000, in the middle of the 2 big projects, there was a pilot test to include the new listed POPs to have a guidance of how analysis them. And in 2016 until 2023, the second GEF project was included 42 countries in the same region, Africa, Greenland, Pacific Island, but also in Asia and Pacific Islands, in which all the POPs at that time were measured in the different matrices I'm going to show in the next slide. And this mainly to contribute to the Stockholm Convention effectiveness evaluation, but also to give the countries the possibility to know more about the POPs and to do the analysis in the countries in some cases where that was possible, but also to understand the POPs research. Next slide, please. And here, this is a summary of the last project from the activities, but was very similar to the first project in 2009, 2012. And just very briefly, this had been long project with many activities. Very briefly, we have monitoring POPs in air, water, and human milk. These are the three core matrices for the Stockholm Convention. And we're using passive sampling for air, 2 years of active sampling of water, and the human milk survey that is a continuation of the WHO human milk survey that started in 2000 with UNEP, but WHO have started many, many years before. And we added some samples, matrices of national interest to allow the countries to provide matrices that they were interested on analyzing. For example, there are eggs, fish, meat, sediment, soil, etc. So these countries can gain also the expertise to sample other kind of matrices and have data to other matrices, not only the ones from core matrices from the Stockholm Conventions. Also, capacity building was provided in most of the countries, or also global, developing a standard operating procedure for sampling and for analysis of POPs, training in national labs, mirror analysis in the countries who have the equipment and the laboratories, and 2 rounds of interlaboratory that were added to the 2 previous rounds in the previous project. So in total, UNEP have done 4 rounds of interlaboratories. And also knowledge sharing, UNEP developed a dashboard I'm going to show you the dashboard after and speak a little bit more. Also, a lot of technical reports about the data, explaining the data, and a special issue on chemosphere in which the countries were given the opportunity to present the data in a scientific manner, but also to appropriate the data and be able to present this data not only for the Stockholm Convention, that is one objective, but also for the scientific community. Also, there was a big communication campaign we have also during the BRS COPs last month, and we have developed under the project data handling interpretation material for giving some tools to the countries to use the data. And next slide, please. And here I included only a screenshot of the dashboard. And this is one of the many different part of the dashboard that you can navigate. This is publicly available in the UNEP website. And here I have selected only Asia and Pacific Island, where you can see what kind of analysis have been done. Here we have at the left, right, up, we have the matrix analysis for POPs, which kind of matrix were analysis in the 2 different projects. Here is all condensated, the analysis. Also, here only show you the countries and the kind of analysis done, but if we go to the bottom right, we have capacity building, and here is all the capacity building provide, etc., SOPs, and below we have a button to go to see the data itself, and we can play with the monitoring results and see the different levels of POPs in different matrices and play with the countries, one country, other countries, etc. So next slide, please. Now I'm going to just show you the contribution of the project to the Stockholm Convention Global Monitoring Plan and the effectiveness evaluation. And this project have contributed a great deal of data, mostly from the developing region. For example, for human milk monitoring, for the all 4 region, the data from from the UNEP project contribute more than 80-90% of the data to the Stockholm Convention. From air, we can see in the table, for Asia Pacific, 62% approximately was of the data provided to the Stockholm Convention came from this project only. And for water was around 75%, mostly because the Pacific region, the only project provided data to the convention came from UNEP project. And this is only about the data, and without going into detail of capacity building and etc., other part of the project. Next slide, please. And here we try to make a link with the NIPS in the sense of having all the data generated, the data knowledge and data sharing, data handling and management that is important to do, and the integration of and usage of this data. And here is where a big link with the NIP can be done, because this data can be used in the NIP and at national level also for relevant policies. And here UNEP also provide a course on data handling, so countries have the possibility to use the e-course to use the data and to include the data at national level, to include the data in the NIP, and to also to provide some recommendation or other information in the NIP to help in the next steps or next project to know what are the priorities from the countries. Next slide. These are very briefly some of the key messages that we have from the previous 2 projects, and is high quality data remains a key pillar for assessing and decision making, and this is very strong and very important because in some region is very, very limited. So it's essential to continue generating critical data to support the Stockholm Convention, but also the effectiveness and the monitoring, as Dr. Roland Weber said, but also to national priorities that can be used for other politics in the different countries. No. Also, in that sense, it's important to understand the data. For that, we have put a lot of effort on giving tools to the countries. And this have to be done in a cost-effective manner, the monitoring. Enhanced collaboration, as Dr. Roland Weber said, is very important, and here it's important to meet here to discuss and to see other initiatives that are happening in the regions. And with the idea to continue the participation of the country in monitoring and POPs, we can go to the next slide. And I'm going to introduce the project that is being finalized now and is being sent to the GEF for final approval. And this is the Global Chemical Monitoring Program, the GCMP. And with the idea the objective of the project is to monitor in POPs, and here we have include mercury also to contribute to the Minamata Convention process. The project have the same regions of the previous one, but we have enlarged a little bit the amount of countries number of countries who are participating. In total, we have 54 countries who are initially being part of this project. And the duration of the project is going to be from 2026 to 2030. To contribute to the next step, the GMP4, the global monitoring that is starting now and will happen in the next years. So with this final slide, I think is my last slide. So happy to answer your question. Thank you.
Yes, Victor, thank you very much. I just put in the chat that when you have questions, you can put questions in the Q&A section here or also in the chat. And later on, we will also have a discussion where you can raise your hand and ask. Yeah. But please, yes, when you have questions to GMP, then please put it here in the Q&A. We come to our second speaker, to Professor Jana Klanova. She is director at Recetox, which is also the Stockholm Convention Regional Center for Central and East Europe, with a very good research capacity. It is located in the Czech Republic. Over to you, Jana.
Thank you very much, Roland, and thank you for inviting me to this event. We can go to the next slide. I will mostly speak about the capacities that are available in Europe and other parts of the world to support the activities in less developed countries, including Asia and Pacific Islands. Recetox Center at Masaryk University has already 40 years of experience working with the toxic chemicals, doing the exposure assessment, hazard assessment, chemical risk assessment, but also we've been working with the Stockholm Convention since day one, so it's almost 25 years of the experience of supporting the international conventions. Next slide. But we also do a lot of research in this area. We are the European Center of Excellence for Environmental Exposure Assessment. We work closely with University College London and ETH in Zurich in development of the new methods connecting the environment and health of populations. Next one. As I said, we invest not only in the research and education, but also policy making and the applications to both to the private and public arena. And we work closely with the society, building the living labs, participatory science, investing into the population studies and such. And as Roland already said, we work as the National Center for Toxic Compounds in the Czech Republic since 2005, and since 2008, we are Stockholm Convention Regional Center for Capacity Building. Since the last year, we are also WHO Collaborating Center. Next. But what is important about the center is that we operate so-called large research infrastructure, which is the Czech national research infrastructure that is included in the national roadmap since 2012. When I speak about research infrastructures, those are resources that are built to support the science. So it means they are all open access and you can ask for the services. The services that we developed are the monitoring networks, the population studies, accredited laboratories or information platforms, including biostatistical and bioinformatic methods and modeling tools. And because this is supported by our ministry, it means we can provide a lot of support also to the international conventions. Some of those maps that you are seeing are coming from the GMP, where we casted the monitoring networks, passive air monitoring networks, MONET, in several continents, collaborating closely with the Environment Canada. But we also supported the GMP in the collection and interpretation of the data. So the GMP tool that GMP is using for collecting the data from the regions and mapping them and showing and assessing the trends is something where we provide the support. Next slide. It has been already said by Victor that the high quality of data is absolutely key for the assessment of the long-term trends and effectiveness evaluation of the conventions. Since we've been working in different regions for 15 years already, we are capable of assessment of these trends. This is an example of Africa where we have the ongoing monitoring since 2008, and you can see that we can clearly assess the trends of different compounds. You can see decreasing trends of DDT or HCB, but pretty much steady trends of the brominated flame retardants or dioxins. Next one. But today I would like to speak about several projects that also colleagues from Asia and Pacific islands can benefit from, because European Commission is paying since 3 years ago the large partnership for assessment of risks from chemicals. It's called PARC, and it has an important element of building the capacities for the chemical risk assessment that will be generally used. So if you go to the web page of the PARC partnership, you can find either Parcopedia, that is showing a lot of knowledge and advancement in this area of research, but we are also building the chemical risk assessment knowledge hub that would provide the inventory of existing laboratories that can provide the services, environmental monitoring networks, population studies, but also models or the data processing tools that can be used in any region. Next one. Another important source I should mention is several networks for assessment of the human exposome. For those not familiar with the term of exposome, it's a complex compilation of all environmental exposures that are affecting human health. And both European Union and USA invested a significant resources in developing this concept. And in the last 2 years, European Commission is supporting the International Human Exposome Network as the global initiative. And again, if you go to the web page, you can register yourself, be part of this human exposome community, and find a lot of useful information for the chemical risk assessment. Next slide. I said the same things are happening not only Europe, but also in the USA. The National Institute of Health started supporting the national or US network of the human exposome since 2004. And you can see 4 areas of interest that they are developing. Their goal is not only build the human exposome network in the United States, but especially to contribute to building to the global network. So now Nexus and IHAN are working closely together, developing the global human exposure community. Next slide. But in order this to function, we also need to develop the capacities. One thing is building the communities and developing the concept, but we need to build the real capacity of the global monitoring networks, human exposome studies, but also laboratories, databases. We need to support the open science, which means the open access to all available resources. This is why in 2020 we submitted the proposal for the new European infrastructure for assessment of chemical risks. It was included to the European Roadmap of Strategic Infrastructures in 2021, and we are working on bringing together all the countries to work on this topic jointly. You can see the list of the countries that are currently involved in different colors. It shows when they joined and how far did they go with development of the national capacities. But you can see that this is not close to Europe. So it means countries in other regions can join this initiative too. We've been working with UK and United States since the beginning, We lately also established the IRIN national node in Australia. We are negotiating with Japan that they would like to build the IRIN national node in Japan as well. And this is also opportunity for other countries, either to become the full members of this network or just benefit from the open access services, because the main goal of this infrastructure is to build the high quality services that will contribute to the harmonization and validation of all measurement and risk assessment methods in the area of chemical risk assessment. Next one. I said that now the global community is really working together. The last months in Washington, there was a big, they call it the Human Exposome Forum, bringing together researchers from the international community. And just for your information, I included a bunch of the useful links where you can see the reports from those global meetings. But if you go to those links to the Moonshot event, you will find the declaration, the global declaration of the scientists who want to support this area of research that you are welcome to sign. But especially there is a way how to register for these international networks that would open the door to the future activities and information generated in the international network. Next slide, please. So if you have any questions about Irene or IHAN or Park, please go to the web page, or you can contact me for more information. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jana. So it seems that at the moment for your network, it is in Asia only discussion with Japan and already agreement with Australia. Do you know if there is already with some other countries initial discussion, or not yet? Because
I
then
will
it would be. Yes.
present next week to the ASEAN, which is a network of Asian research infrastructures. You know, this is not a short-term project. Typical life cycle of the research infrastructures is 2 or 3 decades. It's really based on the political support from the countries. So it's a rolling snowball and it's not fast process. But you know, even the countries that didn't join officially, that it is an opportunity for the scientists to work with us as the research institution.
No, very good. Yeah, and wish you success there. But also for the members here, if you are interested in this discussion and exchange, you can directly access to Jana Glanova then on this topic. There is a question for Victor, and this is from Rio Deswandi from Indonesia. Hi, Rio, nice to meet you. The question is, what will be the methodology for the global POP data collection and monitoring given huge discrepancies in countries and the limited technical capacity to carry out POP research and priorities? Victor, could you maybe directly reply to that, what you are considering for the countries with the low technical capacity? Will there be capacity building?
Yes,
And yeah, how will this be handled?
yeah, thank you. I was to answer about the chat, but in fact, there is a big discrepancy, and now the thinking is not to have a country by country capacity, because for all the POP that exist and all the matrices, that is very, very difficult, and very few labs in the world have this. Even in Europe, there are very, very few or none. So the idea is to have regional capacities for not in one country, but in maybe several, and to specialize in different kind of matrix and POPs. So to be in the collaboration way, not only to do something individually and in each country. So yes, we are going to provide assistance, but not to build a new lab, because this is very expensive and very long process, but to help also in other ways, like understanding the data, management of the data use, etc. But at regional level is mostly the capacity building on labs. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Victor. Yeah, and I mean, today you have here quite good research capacity from China, from Vietnam, from Thailand, with good capacity, which you might be able to explore then in the GMP project later. Then we would come to our next speaker. That's Mr. Anton Purnomo. He is the director of the Basel and Stockholm Convention Regional Center for Southeast Asia in Jakarta, Indonesia. Anton, are you there?
Hello, Roland. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. And Anastasia, are you ready to share the slides of Anton?
Yes, sure, we are.
Okay, good, please.
Thank you,
Anton,
Roland.
then you can start.
Thank you, thank you very much for inviting me in this good forum. Actually, not many things that I will share here. I will just share about the update of the Southeast Asian countries. My name is Anton. I'm the director of Basel and Stockholm Convention Regional Center for Southeast Asia. We are located in Indonesia. Next slide, please. So actually, we are having a mandate to serve 10 countries in the Southeast Asia. However, in the Stockholm Convention, there are two countries that are not yet part of the Stockholm Convention parties members. So there are Brunei and also Malaysia. So we are in the regional center also try to approach both country to aware of this POPs issue, and hopefully they will also interested to join the Stockholm Convention in the future. So this is just an update that most country in the Southeast Asia, there are 8 countries that are part of the Stockholm Convention. There are Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. And thanks to the global monitoring POPs, GMP POPs that is conducted by UNEP, Victor has been presenting before. Actually, in that initiative support most of the monitoring in this region. However, at the moment, the GMP POP are only covering for the Southeast Asia, covering for Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Philippines. Whether there are Singapore and Brunei that are not considered part of the GMP POPs, because there are OECD countries that are not eligible to receive the support from the GEF. That's why they are not including. And in the region, Myanmar also not part on this project. So that's why we also try to support Myanmar. For example, during the GMP POPs last time, we had also possibility or a chance to have a workshop, capacity building, and we also invited Myanmar to join for the workshop, and also hands-on, maybe more than a week in the laboratory in Indonesia. So, colleague, this is also in the table. You can see also the national report from each countries in the Southeast Asia. Mostly all countries parties of the Stockholm Convention already reporting. However, there is also one country which is Laos that have not report yet until now. So we in the regional center also try to support the country. However, there is a barrier that in the national level there are many discussion on the what you call it, the dedicated directorate or authorities that is responsible in the either Basel and Stockholm. So that's why until this moment, Lao PDR has not yet sent the national report. However, in the NEP transmission, you can see here Lao is also having sending the NEP update review on the year 2016, and most other countries are also having the same activity of preparing the NEP and review it. This is because most of the time the activity are supported by the GEF through the UN implementing agency. So that's why the country were able to prepare the NEP review and update. However, some countries are advancing to address the latest COP amendment. For example, like Indonesia and also Thailand, that is already addressing the amendment of the COP9, where, of course, in each COP, there are some additional POPs, new listed POPs that is listed in the POPs, new POPs, something like that. So that's why some country were able to transmit the new review and update of NEP addressing the current amendment. Of course, now we have already COP 12 amendment. So of course, countries or members should also update their own NEP transmission. However, and this is also to inform to all of colleagues here that sometimes, most of the time, the developing country like in the Southeast Asian region, we tried already prepare the NEPs, but the implementation itself are still challenge for most of us. So mostly the resources, the funding resources is still limited. So that's why most of the activities in the Southeast Asian countries addressing the POPs are conducted by projects that is supported by GEF through UN implementing agency like UNDP, UNIDO, UNEP, etc., something like that. So, but in terms of the laboratory capacity in each countries, actually some countries has already developing their capacities. For example, like Indonesia, although we are of course for the new listed POPs, we are not really capable to analyze. However, at least for the initial POPs like PCBs, also dioxin furan, Indonesian Ministry's laboratory, Ministry of Environment laboratory already capable to do that. In the other countries, in Southeast Asian countries, however, mostly the national capacity is only able to analyze the organochlorid or some kind of like initial pop, something like that. But perhaps we can also hear from our colleague from Vietnam and Thailand here the update of all the information in the laboratory in the countries. I think that is, and then could you go to the next slide, please? So as I mentioned before, this is under the GMP POPs project. We conducted international capacity building workshop on POPs. We have 2 days of training, theoretical training by Professor Jacob from Amsterdam, and it was continued with hands-on in the laboratory, perhaps around 7 or 10 days, something like that, in the laboratory, just to hands-on with real sampling and testing in the laboratory. And in here, although we also try to involve or invite countries in the Southeast Asia that is not included in the GMP POP, which is Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, and Myanmar. However, due to the certain circumstances, only Myanmar present in this workshop. So I think that's it all. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you so much. Back to you, Roland.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Anton, for the good overview. And I'm happy about the regional centers, I mean, who have this overview and can, let's say, also coordinate and help for networking, which is important. Also then for the next GMP, that you have an overview on your countries and get this information from the different countries and can see then how from your side you can help. Then we come to our next presenter. It's Dr. Engtul Surenyav from the Mongolian Academy of Science in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Yes, Dr. Surenyav, please, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Roland, for the introduction. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the nice opportunity also to speak here in this roundtable discussion. And is Anastasia sharing my presentation?
Anastasia, can you share the slides, please?
Yes, sure.
Julia.
Thank you.
Coming. Yes.
Yeah.
You can see.
Yeah.
Good.
So today I'm going to share with you some of the present POPs monitoring status of our country and the cooperation needs. So the next slide, please. So the content of my presentation is following. So I'll be talking about the POPs monitoring activity in the country, including the existing POPs monitoring data and the capacity building activities, mainly built during the GMP2 project. And then I will also talk about the collaboration and synergies with other regional initiatives on POPs monitoring activity. And finally, I will also talk about the consideration for sustainability and future monitoring of POPs in the country. Okay, the next slide, please. So our country has participated in several projects through the UNEP, UNIDO, and other organizations, but most of the projects were on the inventory activity. And actually, the GMP2 project was the first project which achieved the monitoring result, which was very systematic. And during the GMP2 project, we had collected some environmental samples and also some foodstuffs as a national interest. And we also collected human milk samples and sent all of them to the expert laboratories. So the result of GMP2 project allowed us the prioritization of POPs, which leads the the next studies and creation of a national chemical analytical capacities that will be used in the future programs. And such analytical capacity should prioritize legacy POPs, because there were abundant DDT and HCH, for example. And but here I have to mention that the high amount of HCH was actually found in the soil sample, which was collected from the contaminated areas. So this is the highest amount was found. And also there were some high amount of HPCD found in the air samples. So this is due to there was some usage of EPS or XPS forms, which is treated with the HPCD, especially in the building insulation materials. So the HPCD was unintentionally released, and that's why it was also reflected in the air. And we also have found some amounts in the human milk samples. And as a continuation of our GMP2 project, we also collected some plastic pellet samplings and sent it to the Japan. This was actually guided by Dr. Roland Weber. And okay, so out of 40 samples, there were few samples had higher amount of PBD, also the chlorinated paraffins, and also PFPS and PFHS were found in many samples, but with a lower amount. And in case of a brominated flame retardants, dioxin-like POPs and PFAS were also found at the lower levels and may not be warrant in priority attention. Okay, the next slide, please. So the capacity building activities, which since our national laboratory was established in 2015, so during the GMP2 project, we have received a couple of trainings. One was on PCP and OCP analysis on the GC, which was received in 2017 by Professor Jakob de Boer. And the next training was received in 2019 on the training of a high volume air sampler. This second training was received by Dr. Esteban Abad. And for the analytical methods, we have received many standard operating procedures and analytical methods from UNEP during the GMP2 project, and we are now selecting some appropriate methods for POPs analysis by GCMSMS. For the analytical instruments, we have two instruments so far. GC with the ECD detector from Agilent, and also we have a GCMSMS from Thermoscientific. And in our national laboratory, we also have some other facilities, including the air sampling equipment, both for active and the passive sampling. And we also installed the sample preparation room. And there are some chemicals and standard solutions that we have received during the GMP2 project. But for the standard solutions, we had some difficulties to buy them. And next time it took almost 2 years to receive the standard solutions that we bought from US. Also, our laboratory has participated for the first time for the fourth round POPs interlaboratory assessment. And during the time, we have received some test solutions of analytical standards and also some test samples. But okay, since this was the first time and since our laboratory is very basic, the result of interlaboratory assessment was not very good, but still we had we collected some experience during the participation of interlaboratory assessment. The next slide, please. And here I would like to mention some of the collaboration with the regional institutions. And Mongolia is actually a part of the POPSI project since 2004. And we have participated in cooperative air monitoring in Tiril 4 times since then. And we also regularly participate for the workshop on environmental monitoring of persistent organic pollutants in East Asian countries, which is hosted by Japan. And also, ICCT POPs laboratory expressed the willingness to join the core laboratory program, but here we had also some difficulties because the Ministry of Environment of Mongolia is not responding for these activities. Also, under the POPSI project, we have organized technical seminars by Dr. Takuya Shiozaki on the air sampling, on the passive and the active air sampling activity. And also we have some collaboration with the National Institute of Environmental Research, Republic of Korea. And every year they organize the analysis training on POPs for the East Asian countries. So we usually send one participant for this training. And also in case of online training, we use it to participate for the training. The next slide, please. So here I would like to share some of the consideration for the sustainability of future monitoring of POPs in the country. And the first thing is that we have to strengthen the national POPs laboratory capacity. For this, we still need trainings for the laboratory staff, because some of the researchers in the lab is not very permanent. So that's usually the problem. And of course, we need the investment in modern analytical instruments and the QA and QC system. We also would like to initiate the monitoring of priority matrices at our national laboratory, because so far we just collect the samples and send them to the expert laboratories for the analysis. So in the long term, of course, we have to be able to monitor those POPs in our national laboratory. And we think that we should focus on food samples and breast milk, and also for some environmental samples. And for this, we need to develop the analytical methods. Validation and the capacity building is very important. And for the implementing the national POPs monitoring plan, the target POPs is legacy POPs, such as Lindan, HCH, and DDT, also the indicator PCBs, because those are the most of the POPs which is found in during the GMP2 projects. And also we should include the emerging POPs such as PFOA and PFOS. And of course, we need to continue the long-term air monitoring under the POPSI project. And we are also part of the GCMP project that should also support the long-term data collection and the policy development. So for all those issues, the most important thing is that we need to strengthen and expand the research collaboration. So that's why I'm also participating for today's discussion, and I hope we will explore many collaborations in the future. Okay, thank you. With this, I will end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Serenyav, for sharing with us your experiences, what you have done. And I'm especially happy to hear that by monitoring of POPs, you could set priorities. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is actually what monitoring should be for. And also you could mention that you have published the data, right, in peer-reviewed journals of your studies. For one of the paper, I was also the reviewer. Yeah, and I think that this is excellent, because I mean, by this, then you can also share with your politicians the data, interpret it and validate it, and also share it with the wider public after you have compiled all your data. So that's excellent. There is one comment from Hassan Habib. He said brominated flame retardants would be significant levels in Mongolia, so analysis for this POP should be carried out in an advanced laboratory. I think in your study you have found higher levels of HBCD than in other countries, and I think the reason is that in Mongolia you are doing much insulation of the buildings with your freezing cold. HBCD is now stopped the production, so I completely agree with Dr. Habib that this is a good research area for Mongolia in future and for the next GMP possibly. Super. So
Okay,
we come
thank you.
to our next presenter. That's Ms. Yuyun Iswamati. So she is co-chair of the International Pop Elimination Network, IPEN, and also a senior advisor of Nexus 3 Foundation, which is in Indonesia. But she's stationed in London and had to get up very early this morning. Thank you very much, Yuyun. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Roland, and thank you for inviting me and having me in this call.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anastasia. Yeah. So I would like to, it's an honor for me to be invited in this call, as other speakers are mostly researchers and professors from academia. Roland asked me whether I can give another perspectives from civil society, and I'll be happy to do that. Next slide, please, Anastasia. Yeah, this is just about me, and you can find also my publications in ResearchGate's Google Scholars and ORCID ID. Next, please. IPEN is a big network of more than 600 public interest NGOs in 131 countries. In Asia, probably we have 45 NGOs in 20-something countries. I lost track of time because it's growing fast. And many of IPEN and the IPEN spirit is working based on science, driven by local priorities and issues and challenges. But we try to link these challenges and priorities to regional and global efforts to prevent harm, especially from chemicals and waste. And what we do, the theory of change within IPEN is that we work at the local level, national, regional, and then we bring it up to the global level. And when the decisions made at the global level, for instance, at the Stockholm Convention, we will bring it back to the national level and then advocate for changes and adaptations with the new decisions. So that's the theory of change within IPEN, and this is embedded in all IPEN activities in many countries. Next slide, please. There are some focus areas of IPEN works, but I would like to highlight here specifically for Stockholm Convention. And we just finished or published our annual report, and then we're so happy to see progress that we contributed to make in many areas in Stockholm Convention, especially highlighting chlorpyrifos and then MCCPs, which is adopted last in the previous COPs, not previous COP, but the recent COPs, and then address also PFAS and then brominated dioxins, hazardous chemicals that mainly from plastics chemicals. IPEN also engaged actively as the observer at PopRock since the beginning. We have 5 advisors and IPEN leaders who sits at the and continue following the process of PopRocks. This is important process for us, so we can also help and push the campaign at the national and regional level. So countries, delegates, when they come to meetings, they are aware about the new POPs, potential POPs that should be listed. We also happy to contribute at the negotiations of plastic treaty, because for IPEN, most of the work is actually in Stockholm Convention. So now we only have to convey our message and our works from the Stockholm Convention's campaign to the plastic treaty, because most of them are POPs, chemicals. We're also happy to see that more and more delegates support the words health in plastic treaty negotiations. As we were concerned at the beginning at UNEA that no health issues has been mentioned, but in the last INC in Busan, we were so happy to see many delegates adopted that word, that plastic treaty is a health treaty, and this is strongly related to POPs, chemicals. So in other forum, we also see the growing concerns about chemicals at the global framework on chemicals, which previously named as SICOM, which also are created now as the output of the global framework on chemicals discussions. Mimicking or replicating the successful of global alliance to eliminate lead paint. Now we have also global alliance to eliminate highly hazardous pesticides, which is most of them are also POPs. And many IPEN participating organizations, we call it, also participate in studies in country level. So now we have 43 country reports on highly hazardous pesticides. And we also strongly cooperate and collaborate with the endocrine society to address the EDCs from pesticides and plastic chemicals. Next slide, please. For us, Stockholm Convention is reduce risk. The aim is to reduce risk and to protect rights. And that's the priorities of IPEN, protect rights and right holders. We have to protect the communities, the workers, and the public in general to have a safe, clean, and healthy and sustainable environment. And then also safe and healthy working environment, the rights of indigenous peoples to thrive, rights to know, this is very important, and the rights to science. The right to know is very important for us because without knowing what kind of chemicals in the products that we use daily and how it exposed to us, it's very important, and it should be the common knowledge for the public, so they will be more aware in selecting or purchasing products. Recently, we also published reports to use the wristband to detect certain chemicals in our blood. And we compare the results from the workers, recyclers, who use also the wristband in their hands for 7 days, and compare it with other respondents or volunteers who joined the study, especially from the Human Rights Office. The articles, the coverage of these studies are widely captured in many international media, and you can access also the report there. The interesting thing about our study was that even people who works indoor, like the human rights officer head, Falkirk on the left, their POPs chemicals in their body also higher than the recyclers, certain chemicals. You can find it in our reports later. It's very interesting to see, because at the beginning, we thought workers, recyclers will have higher particular chemicals, but apparently even people who works indoors also have high chemical concentrations, mainly coming from electronic gadgets and so on in the room. Next slide, please. So IPEN already engaged, well, sorry, I have to rephrase it. IPEN was established after the Stockholm Convention formed or adopted in 1996. So ever since that, IPEN globally aim to generate data based on citizens or civil society's participations. And we are happy to share that many of plastic chemicals are POPs, and we had already been engaged in research and generating data all over the world in the last 20 years. So you can find the data. This is an interactive map, so you can click and then you can see the details of every study, what kind of chemicals that we highlighted or found in particular countries, including the results. And when we conducted this study, we also have cooperations with several laboratories, whether in Europe, in US, or in Asia. So recently, we tried to engage more with laboratories in our region. And we have, currently, we have only cooperation with one University Changshu in Taiwan that also able to perform similar methodology with another lab in Europe. So we would like to see more and more that kind of collaborations with local and regional laboratories to increase the visibility and also findings from our region. Next slide, please. So at the end of 2024, IPEN also conducted a survey to establish our plan in the next 5 years. We are finalizing it at the moment, but we will share it later when we publish it. So IPEN will continue working to reinforce the public health advocacy works and make sure that all the decisions at the global level will be translated and adopted as a national program. So engagement to improve updates, national implementation plans are our main missions. And also, we would like to see more and more the invitations for civil society in our region and globally to engage in the updating NIPS and also citing our reports and findings in the national implementation plans, because all of our reports also have been conducted following the scientific protocols and scientific reports. So it's although it's not all of them published in scientific journals, most of our reports are read and reviewed by so many experts. We also concerned about the growing threats of endocrine disruptor chemicals, NBFR, and then prevalence of PFAS. So we aim to continue working in this area. And we have many experts in many regions, as IPEN participating organization has been working on this issue in the last 20 years. And Roland, also one of our experts in publishing our findings and also conducting our studies. You can find also IPEN resources in the links below. And also we conducted a lot of webinars, which also attended by so many delegates. Interestingly, in every exhibitions that IPEN provided with booth, we printed all our books and documents, and many delegates actually stopped at our booth and then they enjoyed our documents because it's easy to read. And we've seen so many delegates holding our documents when they are negotiating. So we welcome all the cooperations, partnerships, and collaborations with all researchers to advance our campaigns towards a toxic-free future. Thank you. I think that's my last slide. Yeah. Thank you so much. You can tell me if you need more information.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yun, for the good overview and also for the work of you and IPEN. I think yes that you have there a important role to communicate, let's say, complicated scientific messages in a simplified but still correct way. I'm also happy that you have a range of scientists from Sweden and so on within your members, yeah, which are, let's say, supporting your studies, which are developing your studies. And like you said, yes, I also help for some time. So here you could check. I put it in the chat here, our review article on dioxins and PCB in X Global, which I think is a real super study. I recommend everybody to have a look at it. And Yun, you can also share some more of the links, yeah, also to your plastic studies. You just put it in the chat, yeah, afterwards.
I forgot to
great.
mention one thing, Roland, that in the last COP in Geneva last month, I've been actually working behind the screen with the experts from the Netherlands to develop the technical guidance to address the contaminated sites of POPs. So that's also adopted last COP. So we were so happy. That was the work of 7 years of our experts. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in our BAD-BEP group, in the UNEP-BAD-BEP group, where also IPEN is a member, and Dr. Lee Bell, yeah, and Dr. Jendrik Peterlik actively participated. You can also put the link to the guidance if you have, yeah. Otherwise, I will find it, which has published for this COP and which is interesting for all countries. It's a UNEP publication, BI Secretariat. Okay, good. Yeah, Yun. Then we come to our next presenter from Vietnam. That's Professor Tu Binh Minh. We are friends since many years, and he wrote, yes, since 25 years you are doing pop research. First in Japan for many years at Ehime University, capacity building from Japan, and now at Hanoi University. Over to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Roland. Yes, and hi everyone. So today I would like to give you a very quick review of the research and achievement of the POPs research and management in order to implement the Stockholm Convention in Vietnam. Next slide, please. Can I have next slide, please? Okay. As you know, recently we are groups of several consultants here to undertake a task requested from the Ministry of Environment in Vietnam to review and assess the implementation results of the different convention on chemical and waste management, including the Stockholm Convention. So this slide summarizes some achievement and also some outstanding issue in Vietnam for the implementation of the Stockholm Convention. So some very positive things have been done, such as the NEP update in 2018, and we also successfully banned of some legacy POPs such as DDT and other chlorinated pesticide. And also, Vietnam is one of the countries that quite active in mobilizing the funding from GEF, the Global Environmental Facility, for the source management and decontamination of PCB, pesticide, and Asian AO dioxin hotspot. And also the issues of POPs management has also been added into the environmental protection law of the country, and many regulation and standards for POPs have been issued. But on the other side, there's quite a challenging number still available in Vietnam. For example, we still have some hundreds of old pesticide stockpile, and these ones still pose the high risk for soil and the groundwater. And also, more challenging is an unintentional produce swap. So we have poor control of the emission from the open burning, for example, from the waste or agricultural byproduct, and especially for the old industrial incinerator, which are potential source of the dioxin and furans emission. As for the monitoring and technical capacity, actually there is no national POPs monitoring network, and the international standard POPs analysis laboratory is still limited in Vietnam. And also we are still lack of the indicator for assessing the commodity exposure. As for the management issue, there is still fragment about the data sharing and responsibility. And also there is no unified mechanism for the integrated POPs elimination activities. Next slide, please. Okay, however, Vietnam still quite active in mobilizing quite a number of GEF projects. And this slide summarizes the number of the GEF-funded projects undertaken in Vietnam since the country signed the Stockholm Convention in 2002. So as you can see here, actually Vietnam is quite active, especially during the period of 2009 to 2015. And at the same time, we established about nearly 8 projects with total funding of 119 million US dollar from the GF and US government in order to deal with the issues such as the elimination and decontamination of the PCB, and also pesticide stockpile and Agent Orange dioxin in the dioxin contaminated hotspot. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, actually, it is very difficult to review what has been done in terms of POPs research in 1 or 2 slides. But this figure summarizes what is going on over the last 15 years in Vietnam, and those research are mainly conducted in my laboratory in collaboration with the leading laboratory in the world on POPs research. So there is 2 figures on the right side about the sediment sample and breast milk as a representative of the environmental and human sample. And you can see in the figure in the middle is the daily intake dose and the exposure pathway profile. So as you can see, in general, the high contamination is evident in the urban rivers and canals with the rapid growth of the population and industrialization. And also we found the hotspot of the pollution exist in the informal waste recycling areas such as the e-waste and the old vehicle recycling facility. And also it is interesting that if you can look at the figure in the middle with the yellow color, you can see that the house dust is become the important exposure pathway, especially for the PBDE, the legacy flame retardant in waste recycling facility. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, actually, one important issue is how to evaluate the effectiveness of the POPs regulation. So we see that the study on the temporal trend using the dated sediment core sample can be a very suitable method. So this figure shows you the recent results of the vertical profile of the PCB at some and some organochloride pesticide in sediment, for example, collected from different locations in the North Vietnam. So you can see here, for example, we found some peak in around peak level in around middle of 70s, in the middle of 90s, and early 2000 for PCB, and then the profile constantly decreasing. So this profile somehow reflects the effectiveness of the regulation of pesticide ban in Vietnam in 1995 and the effective management effort by implementing the GEF-funded project during the period of 2009 to 2015, as I have mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is actually only one study as an example of the newly added chemical into the convention is chlorinated paraffin, thanks to the support from the Roland in his project. So you can see here, for example, short and medium chain chlorinated paraffin product is dominant in both technical mixture and PCP product available in Vietnam. And we found that the chlorinated paraffin content in the PVC sample may vary according to the life cycle with the product, with a higher level in the recycled plastic. Next slide, please. Okay, now I will share up some of our opinions and also our activity, how to develop an international network in order to maintain the high quality data for POPs monitoring across the region. So one of the recommendations is that we can participate in the international scale research program using air, water, or sediment, dust, and human sample collected from different locations with similar protocol. For example, for the air sample, as you know, nowadays, the passive air sampler, with relatively simple and easy to deploy, and also no power required, and this is very suitable for both indoor and outdoor survey. And I would like to emphasize also that very recently we joined the Global Estuary Program, the GEM program. Water and sediment were collected and analyzed following the same protocol of the sampling and chemical analysis to ensure the highly consistent results. And the program is led by Professor Kenny Leong from City University of Hong Kong. And until now, more than 100 countries with more than 200 estuary participated over the world. Recently, as I also mentioned, that the effectiveness of the control measure in response to the obligation to the convention. So you can use the sediment, dated sediment, for example, in the well-preserved aquatic environment in order to trace the temporal time study and also to evaluate the effectiveness of the control measures in the implementation of the convention. So the common strategy here is that we can develop a similar sampling and analysis protocol with relatively quick, simple, and easy to deploy. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is our international network with some of the leading laboratory in the world on POPs analysis. We have the Ehime University, where I obtained my PhD and postdoc. And you also know very well Professor Kanan from Farnworth Center in US. And we have the City University of Hong Kong, Professor Paul Lams and Professor Kenny Leong, as I mentioned earlier, in the GEM program. And very recently, we have also joined the Southern Contaminant Program led by Professor Gan Zhang, who is also here present in this meeting. And very recently also, we have collaborated with Dr. Sun Yang Zhao from Guangxi Environmental Protection in Nanning, China. And the activity we can do is that we can collect the sample collection in Vietnam and also other countries in region. And we can do the chemical analysis in the leading laboratory in like in Japan or in China or in Hong Kong. We can also exchange the postdoctoral programs in the leading laboratory and organizing the technical meeting, workshop, symposium in Vietnam and also in the leading country. Next slide, please. Okay, so instead of my thanks and appreciation, I'm showing some of the picture of our recent activity here in Hanoi. And you can see many familiar faces here, namely in 2019, Professor Gan Zhang in Hanoi under the Southern Contaminant Program. And also in 2004, last year, we hold the successful workshop with Professor Leong from Hong Kong in collaboration with WinFuture. And of course, last year, we met Roland. There is a very big reunion of POPs, research people in Hanoi, Vietnam. And also last month, we have Dr. Sun Yang Zhao in Hanoi and also in the China ASEAN Youth Green Envoy Program in Guangxi, Nanning, China. And what I'd like to say that you are always welcome to Hanoi. And if you have chance to come to Hanoi, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Tu Bich Minh. Yeah, also for your excellent networking and showing that by this kind of networking with Japan, with China, with other countries, excellent research outcomes for your country. I mean, which is industrializing very rapidly in the last 20 years, and therefore monitoring is very important, and to have this excellent research capacities and cooperations. I think our study for the chlorinated paraffins, right, that was a cooperation with the Japanese National Institute of Environmental Science. Yeah, so you sent a student or a doctor or a postdoc there. Yeah, and this was also funding from the global monitoring plan. Yeah, from your sampling campaign. So this is how it really should be. Thanks very much for that.
Thank you.
Coming from Vietnam to Thailand, to Dr. Nucharin Ramungul from the National Metal and Material Technology Center in Thailand. Nucharin, are you there?
Yes, Roland, thank you.
Yeah, so please, the floor is yours, and the
All
slides
right.
are already online. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Roland and also GGKP for giving me a chance to make this presentation. Today, I would like to share with you about our journeys on the developing inventories and NIPS update for the POPs. Next, please. Next slide, please. The journeys I would like to share with you here is about our second NIPS, which is a project coming up using the GEF support in 2017 to 2018. The project itself is planned for 1 year, but we end up using 3 years to complete. But during these journeys, we have successfully compiled 3 inventories for POPs pesticides, POPs industrial chemicals, and UPOPs, as well as successfully got the National Implementation Plan endorsed. Next, please. As you know, the Stockholm Convention has added lots of chemicals into the list. Right now, as of May this year, we have in total 37 chemical substances under the POPs Stockholm Convention. For our investigation, we studies only up to the COPs 8 and COP 9. Next, please. The process that we have used to compile our NIPs is closely follows the UNEP guidance. First, we set up a coordinating mechanism, which is we found it's very useful for our success. We start with 5 working groups. The first one being the supervision, which is a very, very, very important working groups to have. And we have 3 working groups for each groups of the Stockholm Convention POPs, namely POPs pesticides, POPs industrial chemicals, and UPOPs, and 1 extra working group for socio-economic impact. We have done quite a lot of awareness raising to raise awareness within our countries. Second, then we move on to make the inventories for the countries. So we cover all new POPs and also the reviews of the 12 original POPs. Since the POPs, each sectors of POPs are very, very different, and also the challenge faced or the stakeholders involved in each groups of POPs are very, very different. So we decide to study the POPs into 3 parts. Each involve specific groups of POPs. After we have information, we then further on to the study of the capacity assessment and set priorities. Finally, after we get all the data, we formulate the action plan. So for the challenge we face, I will address only the 3 last part on each part of the journeys we develop. Next, please. Next slide, please. So first, about the inventories. Inventory is about the finding of what's hidden. As we all know that the modern POPs, especially POPs industrial chemicals, are mostly embedded in products or in materials. So it is highly invisible. So we need to find a way to make it visible so that we can raise awareness about them. So the invisibilities of these chemicals makes the awareness of these chemicals very, very low among our stakeholders. We also lack upstream and life cycle data for these chemicals. As you all know that POPs, new POPs like POPs brominated flame retardant, POP PFAS, or the chlorinated paraffins. They encompass quite a wide range of stakeholders, and their supply chains are very complex, ranging from production of chemicals into the products, into the use phase, into the end of life, and coming back in as recycled materials. So we lack these informations. As to make the matter worse, our system now is very fragmented when we look at the chemicals as a life cycles. So we have ministries taking care of every aspect of the life cycles of the chemicals, but we do not have connection between them. So it's quite challenge for us. And with this, it leads us to the limited access to samples as well. So with each stakeholders, each companies, fear of consequence of if some chemicals are shown in their samples. So it is extremely difficult to build a complete or reliable inventories during the period that we have been done. As for the priority settings, once we have the data where the POPs are, we know more or less the source of the chemicals. Now we have to choose where to act. For this, we have no long-term and systematic monitoring data. There's a data gap across the media as well as time. Because when Stockholm Convention start to list chemicals, activities start there. But the monitoring data is not start until the activity start. So we have quite a long lag times between the listing and the monitoring data. We also lack practical tools or system to track POPs along the life cycles. So we know that even if we know where the POPs enter the countries, we don't know where it's stocked, we don't know the stockpile, and we don't know how many of them has been destroyed or anything. And we also have limited knowledge about how to manage it. We do know the many options available, but which one are good for Thailand, or which one will be effective? That's is a question for Thailand. Next, please. So when we have everything, we will have to compile with the action plan. So we turn data into action. Thailand, I think, is similar to the Stockholm Convention, or start monitoring and start managing POPs as a pesticides. So our system can deal with POP pesticides, but we have a system login, which give us a very much difficulties to manage POPs industrial chemicals, where it span quite a long time, as well as it can be recycled. As for the policy framework, we do not have a framework to keep up with the emerging POPs. So every time new POPs come in right now, agencies or focal points, we have to come back and do the analysis, do the inventories again and again, and that put a lot of burden to the authorities. And we also have weak operational capacities. Once the action plan has been endorsed, now it will become the work for the local agencies, and which have lacks manpowers, lack tools, or lack mandates to finish the job. Next, please. Next, please. So our solution, when we do the job and when we did the development for the NIP, for our NIPs, we did give a lot of awareness raising. We try to make sure that the stakeholders understand what is going on, and importantly, we try to position POPs management not as a threat, but as a preventive action, so that it can be opportunities for all stakeholders to be proactive at the POP management. We also develop and using screening method for POPs in products. So we develop quite a few low cost and rapid screening method for PBDEs, HBCD, SCCP, and MCCPs, so that we know where's the source, where's the hotspot for each of the products are. We cannot rely on only a few tests, accurate test method for only a few products to enforce the law. We also, the information we get is also, we got from this screening method also give us opportunities to provide evidence to stakeholders, so that we can engage them and include them into our communities to help each other to reduce the risk. We also did the mass flow analysis to predict what will come out and when it will come out, so that the government can have a long-term planning for waste management infrastructure in the futures. Next, please. As for the future NIPs and also the POPs management for the R&D needs, we have 5 areas of work that we think that it can be useful. One is for the data generators. So we need data to inform decision making. But in order to get the data, we need a screening method. We need a way to identify, we need a way to make the invisibilities of the POPs visible. So we also need to have an advanced non-target and group-based analysis approach. Because every time when we go there and we do the test, not only that the POPs that we found, we also found other substances as well. We cannot go back again and again to do samplings and to do the testing only for the new POPs. So every time we go there and we do the testing, we should get every chemicals that are presented to us in the samples. We also need to improve decision-making tools to identify the POPs in waste so that the authorities can authorize safe in treatment for safe disposal method. We also need to be intelligent in terms of testing. So instead of doing the test or identify POPs one at a time, I think we should have a strategy to study POPs by functional groups. We also need to establish regional knowledge sharing network so that our efforts are not duplicated in other places. We should not do the same testing over and over again in every country for the same products. So we should have a system so that the information can come in so that the developing countries who's already lacks in resource do not have to spend too much effort on this. So the effort should be spent on the preventing the POPs and also managing the POPs. Next, please. So we also need to do the life cycle management and risk reduction solution. Once we know where the POPs are, that's just the beginning. The next job will be how to do with it. Where should we impose the regulation, and what are the technologies to be used to dispose the materials? And when we enforce the law, and what are the safe alternative? Would that the alternative not be the regrettable alternative? And these are the capacity that our system needs. We also need capacity building and system support for the national and regional lab capacity for testing and for training on new methods. We need to engage others. We cannot put all the POPs monitoring and POPs management system only to the government. So stakeholders, public, private, should have to join each other to support these efforts. And finally, I think once we have everything, we have data, we also need to strengthening the capacity for regulators and policymakers to make a good use out of the data. We try very hard to find and to get it. So I think we need to have a capacity building so that the regulators or the policymakers knows how to use and how to make a good use out of this set data that we have. And we have to also foster evidence-based cultures so that the regulations or the policies are coming out of, or the decisions are coming out from the data, solid data, scientific data. And that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Nucharin, for this very comprehensive overview. I completely agree with you. I think that was super. Also, absolutely, we need to better control the life cycle. One advantage of your institute is that you are really monitoring materials. Often scientists are mainly in the environment, but let's say the big POP amount is in products, and the move of products at the same time is the move of POPs with all these open burning issues. But when we think about circular economy, it becomes more and more important to understand here the POPs in the life cycle. Your big advantage is that you are in very good contact with industry. Yeah, so I think that's very important, and I was quite happy that your institute was responsible to support the NIP development. I think that is really a role model, especially for the new industrial POPs. Please continue. Also, yes, very complicated to get these data out of studies. Actually, there is only one or two very good studies on POPs in e-waste plastic, because the sampling is so complicated to get reasonable samples. And here I think also a regional cooperation for such studies might be needed. The only good studies there are from Switzerland, which have done a national study, but that's also now 15 years ago. France did some. So therefore, yes, common efforts are needed. Yeah, thanks. Before we come to the next presentation, I would like to highlight on the chat, there is a survey where you please participate with the question, what are the POP research needs in your country and region? Yeah, so that's a Mentimeter questionnaire. You can just click the link, and there you can then include all your thoughts. You can make as many points as you want. We continue now with Dr. Ramesh Kumar from India. He's principal scientist in the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, NERI, in Nagpur, which is at the same time the Stockholm Convention Center for the region. Over to you, Dr. Ramesh.
Good day to all of you, all the participants. I welcome all the participants for this roundtable discussion in Asia. So my topic of presentation is national implementation plans and research needs in the especially in the Asian region. Next, please. So before I go into the research needs, let me have a brief overview about the institution in which the Stockholm Convention Regional Center is located. So my institution is CSIR, National Environmental Engineering Research Institute. In short, it is called as NERI, which is located almost at the center of India. It is about 1,000 kilometers south of the capital, New Delhi. So our institution was established in the year 1958. Originally, it was established in the name of Central Public Health Engineering Research Institute due to the jaundice pandemic prevailed during 1950s. Then it was subsequently renamed as National Environmental Engineering Institute, and the same name is continuing. So the mandate of our institution is we are mainly into the all areas of environmental science and technology. Next, please. So a quick overview about the institutional arrangement of our institute. We have our headquarters, the National Institute at the Nagpur, and we have branches at 5 major cities of India. The other five major areas in which we are concentrating is air quality management, then water and wastewater, then waste management, including hazardous waste, then environmental impact assessment, then environment and energy sciences and technology. So Stockholm Convention Regional Center, it comes under the hazardous waste management division. So in total, 150 scientists are working in our institute. 250 staffs, including all scientific, technical, and administrative manpowers. Then COP5 held in 2011, it endorsed CSIR NERI as the Stockholm Convention Regional Center. So this is the first one is the institutional building, and the second one is the SCRC, that is Stockholm Convention Regional Center. You can see the number of people working in that in SCRC. Next, please. So from 1958 to till date, every 10 years or decade, the institutional mandate focused on certain environmental issues. From the inception of the institute to 1974, approximately 15 years, the major thrust area was water and wastewater. Then the next another 10 years, starting from 1975 to 1986, mainly the technologies and the solutions providing for the major environmental problems. Then from 1987 to 2001, the focus has been shifted to industrial and field demonstration of technologies, mainly for the solving the industrial problems related to wastewater treatment, as well as the industrial hazardous waste treatment and disposal. Then from 2001 onwards, main focus has been continuing in the area of industrial and field demonstration technologies and their demonstration. Then one more area mainly we are focusing is the industrial waste disposal, mainly the hazardous waste, how the hazardous waste can be treated, stabilized, and it is disposed in the landfill. So at the same time, NIRI has also established as one of the major partner in most of the international projects. Next, please. So NIRI has been collaborated with various international agencies like World Health Organization, then UNEP, then IPCC on the greenhouse gas emissions, then UNICEF. So these are some of the major international collaborators. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. We all know that with the recent COP, another 3 chemicals has been added into the list of persistent organic pollutants. So as of now, in total, 37 POPs are listed under the Stockholm Convention. So these POPs can be divided into 3 categories. One is POPs, pesticidal POPs. Then second is the industrial chemicals, and third one is the unintentionally produced chemicals or byproducts. So the first category is mostly it is the chlorinated pesticides. Then the second category, which is the major focus now, the industrial POPs, mainly the flame retardant groups, then per and PFAS group of chemicals, then chlorinated paraffins, including short chain and medium chain, then UV stabilizers, and another chlorinated flame retardant called dichlorine plus. So this is the major focus now, because many of the developing countries, they are the major manufacturers of these industrial chemicals, as well as these industrial POPs are mainly used in various products which we use daily in our life. It may be plastics or textiles or construction and other electronics. So this is the major focus now. So developing inventories of these industrial POPs is one of the major challenges, because we need to quantify the usage of these chemicals in different products, as well as estimating their use pattern. It is also a major challenge. Then we have 7 chemicals listed in unintentionally produced compounds, other than the dioxin and furans. Next, please. So as per the guidance document of UNEP, currently India is updating its national implementation plan. India has first submitted its national implementation plan in the year 2011. At that time, the number of chemicals included was only 12 chemicals. So subsequently, now the list is 37. So another 29 chemicals have been added to the list. And India is updating its national implementation plan for the first time. So this is a GEF-funded project, and it started in the year 2023. So we are following the UNEP recommendation, these guideline documents. So as per the guideline, the NIP updation process, it goes in 3 steps. The first one is the tier 1, which is also called as the initial assessment. So this is mostly done based upon the available data in the public domain. So it can also be called as a desk study. So in this process, we have already completed. We compile all the available information and identify these key stakeholders for each POPs, as well as the use pattern, especially for the industrial POPs. So this information will be very much useful for going to the next tier 2 level, that is the main inventory. We can identify the major industrial sectors, as well as the ministries, as well as the government departments where the data is available. So once the main stakeholders are identified, we can prepare a questionnaire and we can go to the main inventory. And the third step, which is very crucial, that is the in-depth inventory, which involves the actual sampling and analysis. So we carry out this tier 2 as well as tier 3 simultaneously, because once the stakeholders has been identified, we cannot repeatedly, we need not to go to them again and again. So it is better to proceed the tier 2 as well as tier 3 inventory simultaneously, so that we collect the data as well as the sampling can be done simultaneously. So we are doing the tier 2 and tier 3 inventory. Right now it is going on. So based upon the capacity of each country, the quality of the NIP update or the NIP, it also varies. Normally, tier 1 assessment, the developing countries, especially the countries located in the Asian region, the initial assessment may not be sufficient for a detailed and precise plan for the Stockholm Convention implementation or to identify the global environmental benefits. Because countries generally they lack capacity to carry out the inventory process. So it also reflects in the tier 2 as well as tier 3. Especially for tier 3, mainly it involves the sampling and analysis. That is the monitoring part of the NIP update process, which is very crucial. So here, most of the developing countries, they due to the lack of instrumental and other facilities, the sampling and analysis of the samples, it becomes somewhat challenging for most of the countries. Next, please. Yeah, so based upon the requirement of the national implementation plan, the requirement can be data requirement as well as the content of the national implementation plan should address all these topics. One is the production, import and export details, then estimated use and stockpiles, then concentration in environmental compartments, that is air, water and soil, products and waste. So these two are the crucial one. It requires the data collection from the relevant ministries as well as industries and other departments. Then sampling and analysis of POPs in different matrices, including environmental compartments as well as the products and waste. Then once the major sectors has been identified, UNEP recommends the sector-wise inventory that makes the data collection more useful, as well as it also helps the management plan to a more more methodical one. So for that purpose, UNEP recommends the sectorial inventory. Mainly the agriculture, mainly pesticides are used, then construction, automotive, textiles, then plastic, electronics and electric and electronics, then waste incineration, then rubber, paint and leather. So the major sectors identified are electric and electronics, construction, then automotive, textile, as well as the plastic sector. So these are the major sectors where these POPs chemicals are consumed. Then the other components of the NIP is the contaminated site and assessment. It also addresses the human health implications. Then assessment of alternatives. Then management action plan to reduce emissions. That mainly the PEP, mainly it concerns with the unintentionally produced compounds or byproducts. So the NIP also should address socio-economic impacts, because mainly the industrial POPs, they are majorly produced as well as used in the developing countries, including India, China, and other countries located in the Asian region. So restriction or banning these chemicals, definitely it will have a huge impact on the country's economy, as well as when economy is affected, social problems will also likely to come up. Then what are its synergies with the other convention and treaties like the Basel, Rotterdam, Minamata and SAICM? Now it has come to the global chemical framework. Then most importantly, all the national implementation plan has to be closely linked with the national developmental goals. The national developmental goals, especially the policies, rules and policies related to the environmental protection, as well as the sustainable developmental goals of UN. Then what are the prioritized actions for the POP management in the country? So the prioritized action may be divided into short-term, and long-term goals for the POPs management. So this ideal national implementation plan should address all these aspects. Next, please. Yeah, so these are some of our industry sector-wise data collection, sampling, and monitoring. So that is resulting into a sectoral guideline as well as the sector-wise inventory of these POPs chemicals. So we are also addressing the chlorinated paraffin industry. It is one of the major industry in India. Then pulp and paper industry, especially for the dioxin and furan emissions. Then automobile sector. Then textile sector, then waste electric and electronic equipments, then construction, and demolition activities. So these are some of the major chemical consuming industrial sectors as well as POPs chemicals. Next, please. Yeah, so there are various challenges. Of course, the challenges are common to most of the countries, especially the developing countries. The most challenge is the lack of country capacity, then lack of interest awareness among the stakeholders, then poor participation of stakeholders in the meeting. Then another one important the challenge in developing countries is competing interest among the stakeholders. So this is one of the major challenge in particularly in developing countries. Environmental protection should come first, or the promotion of industry or manufacturing or economy. So this is always a major challenge, particularly in developing countries. Within ministries also, a lot of competing interest will be there. Then always the policy makers, they say that there is lack of data, especially the exposure of chemicals as well as his health outcomes. Studies related to the linking this exposure to chemicals as well as the adverse health outcomes, it is very rarely addressed in developing countries. So it will be a very stumbling block to tackle the policy makers, or to apprise and to influence the policy makers to take appropriate decisions. And most importantly, many industries as well as even the government ministries, they also not willing to share data on the production and import export of these POPs chemicals, particularly the Customs Department, Ministry of Chemicals, and other line departments, Ministry of Industry. Sometimes it will be very difficult to convince them to get the data from them. Then POPs chemicals in products, this is one of the major challenge in analysis, particularly the product analysis, textiles, plastic, electronic and electronics, paint, consumer goods. And UNEP has developed a very good guideline for the monitoring of POPs in different products, especially plastics as well as e-waste. So it will be very highly useful. So I recommend all the participants to have a look at this and try to adopt this. Then of course, always the government policies and priorities, they keep on changing. So it is also one of the major challenge for the NIP development. Next, please. So in the current NIP update, we have through the since the recognition of this our institute as a Stockholm Convention Regional Center, so we have developed a good laboratory for POPs monitoring. So you can see the different instruments as well as the extraction as well as cleanup work is going on. We have GC single quad, GC triple quad, as well as the high resolution mass spectrometer, especially used for the dioxin and furans. So our people are working in this laboratory, and we have been addressing all the POPs in different products as well as the different matrices. Next, please. So within the next, please. So these are some of our recent publications in the field of POPs monitoring. Next, please. Currently, 6 PhD research scholars are working in the laboratory. They are all working in different POPs related product. You can see the different topics. One is working on the soil remediation of polychlorinated PCB contaminated soils. Then another one is working in the one of the emerging POP, that is cyclic volatile methyl siloxanes. Then dioxin and furan. Then microplastics and its how it's absorbs the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and as well as the other contaminants from the road dust. Then another one is working on the industrial waste stabilization and disposal, particularly chromium and mercury. Then one of the emerging contaminant is the endocrine disturbing chemical plasticizer phthalate. It is heavily used in the most of the plastics. How humans are exposed to plasticizers through different medium. So these are the current research going on in our laboratory. Next, please. Yeah, so within the NIP update project, we identified some of the key research topics, and we are working on that. We are developing the inventory of chlorinated paraffins in different plastic products. Then assessment of PCB contamination in transformer storage yard. India is one of the country having huge stockpile of PCBs, which is also otherwise called as transformer oils. So these transformer oils are stored in old transformer yards. So we are also assessing, make an assessment about the soil contamination about this in the transformer yards. And also we are assessing about the presence of hazardous chemicals, especially PCB, then PAH, then PBDE and other flame retardants in the recycled plastic pellets, which is going to be made into new products. So this will be helpful for the policymakers to frame certain standards for the recycled pellets. So we also do some research work on emerging contaminants, particularly the contaminants which are present in the consumer products, so that the standard organization in India, Bureau of Indian Standards. So we will inform to Bureau of Indian Standards to make some regulations to set some standards for the recycling contaminants. Then migration of hazardous chemicals from kitchenware. Then some of the chemicals which are used are non-essential additives. We are also concentrating on that. Then presence of halogenated flame retardant in the automobile parts. So this is one of the projects which is likely to come up in the next year. So this is executed in association with the Indian Automobile Manufacturers Association to phase out the hazardous flame retardant additives from the automobile sector. So also we are assessing the POPs contaminant in the ship breaking yard, one of the biggest ship breaking yard located in India. Then we are also conducting this ambient air quality monitoring, particularly related to POPs levels in ambient atmosphere using passive air samplers. Then also we are assessing the UV stabilizers in the sportswear. The textiles are the cloths which are used for outdoor weathering, particularly used by the sports people. They contain likely to contain more UV stabilizers. Also, we are doing some work on cyclic siloxanes, mainly which is used in cosmetics. So these are some of the currently ongoing research in our laboratory. Next, please. Yeah, so we have good capacity for POPs monitoring in environmental samples as well as products. So I invite the countries located in the Asia region to collaborate with us. So whenever you have a chance to visit India, so you are welcome to the Stockholm Convention Regional Center located in Nagpur. We are also open to collaboration with other research institutions located in the Asia region. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kumar, very much for this very good overview, but especially also for your work at the National Implementation Plan of India, which really seems to put India to a next level in respect to POP research and POP monitoring. So you said, yes, you lack capacity, but actually your work is reducing it bit by bit, the capacity. But of course, it's a big task, huge country, 1.4 billion people, huge industry. I'm quite happy that you are starting to address the paraffin industry, which is used. We got one comment from Dr. Habib, who said, according to the World Bank and WHO reports, about 30% of PM 2.5 migrates from North India to Bangladesh. Is there a plan to reduce? I think also for sure from Bangladesh to India, there is also going PM 2.5. It's not only from India to Bangladesh. And of course, you highlighted BAT-BEP, yeah, and that you are improving BAT-BEP. So this will certainly contribute. If you like, you can add further comment in this respect.
Yeah, it's a good question. So in fact, as per the WHO report, this countries located in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, that is Pakistan, then Afghanistan, then India, then Bangladesh and Myanmar. These countries are located on the plain, which is mostly due to the particulate matter, elevated levels of particulate matter, especially during the winter from November to February, March. Every year, this is a ongoing for the last 20-25 years. There are various reasons attributed to why such a huge particulate matter concentration is quite high in the ambient air. One of the reasons quoted is during this month, especially during winter, farmers, they burn the stubble. So that releases a lot of particulate matter as well as soot. So obviously, it also releases polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, but not much studies has been made. So we are also planning to have some sort of passive air sampling in the upcoming November-December month. Probably if you took at the monitoring and if the results are out, we will have a better understanding about the POPs, particularly PCB as well as polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, maybe the black carbon in the ambient air. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kumar. Then we come from India to China to Professor Gan Zhang from Guangzhou Institute of Geochemistry of the Chinese Academy of Science. Gan is one of the groups which also supports the region with monitoring and maybe can team up with Dr. Ramesh on his activity on monitoring in the region. So over to you, Professor Zhang.
Okay, thank you, Roland. It's very nice to join on the roundtable discussion, and I'm also very excited to hear what Dr. Ramesh said, because I saw a familiar face in one of his slides. I will tell you later. It's my great honor to introduce some of our activities and opportunity for POPs research in Asia. Next, please. Yes, yeah. What I'm going to introduce is mainly on the air monitoring. Why air monitoring? Next, please. Because the air monitor, the air, I really like it because it's a well mixed media and the sampling is quite easier and can be normalized everywhere in the world. And it's quite sensitive to fresh POPs usage. It's like if we pour 1 kilogram of some kind of volatile chemicals onto in my city, which is 7,000, more than 7,000 square kilometers in the land area. And then after 2 hours, we can have a 0.1 nanogram per cubic meter, this kind of concentration in the air. And then after the concentration, we can get the final concentration level of 0.1 ppm in our laboratory in the vials. And this is a very comfortable concentration for analytical chemists to quantify this compound. And so this POP monitoring use air atmosphere as media is can provide highly time resolved data up to hours, and can provide also meaningful information, including risk assessment, management, control effectiveness assessment, and also sources, seasonality, and air transport, etc. Next, please. This is a very early picture of DDT in East Asia and China. To the left, you can see the year of 2004. It's 21 years ago. We collaborate with Lancaster University. I have Kevin Jones, and also the guy who did this work, wrote this paper is Jawad, Fode Jawad. He's now currently the Minister of Environment of Sierra Leone in Africa. So the picture, on the picture, we can quite well identify a high concentration, DDT concentration region in the southeastern China coastal area. After 2 years, we did the same thing. It's by another student of mine, it's Liu Xiang. He found a similar thing to the southeastern coastal area of China. We observed high DDT concentrations. So this gives very alarming signature. And then next, please. And then we hypothesize that maybe the anti-fouling paint they use illegally, DDT, as an ingredient to prevent the fishing ships from fouling during their usage. And we then collected the sediment in 9 Chinese coastal fishing harbors. We found in a sediment, the DDT, you can see the GC traces. It was almost similar to standards. So they're very high concentration. So by this, we're able to identify this kind of anti-fouling paint for fishing ships. Could be a culprit for the high concentration of DDT concentration in the southeastern China. And actually in the year of 2009, China banned and forbidden the use of DDT for anti-fouling paint for fishing ships. Please, this is just an example how this works. Next, please. Yes, now I'm going to talk about the POPs. POPs is a global environmental challenge. The global challenge, which should be means that it's largely because these POPs, they can migrate from one place to another place and made it a problem to be globally. So the key drivers of global dispersion of POPs, I summed up 5 reasons. The first one, of course, is natural transmission via atmosphere or via water, like for PFAS, they are quite soluble. So water can be a transport media, and biota, like migration birds, etc. So for the natural transmission of POPs, it's well known the so-called global distillation POPs, distillation model, supposed by Frank Wanian and Don Marquet in the very early years, 1983 and 1986. But what about this rendering more concerns in colder places like the Arctic, the Antarctic, and the Tibetan Plateau, etc.? But what about the warmer global south? Because most of the global south countries, they are quite warmer. And so I think the most important other reasons may include, first, the global redistribution of industries, the production capacity, and the second, maybe the global transfer of solid waste. And the third is global trade of commodities and food. And the last one, maybe exemptions of POPs application in certain developing countries. Next. For this, I will give some example. Next, please. Yes, this is a global redistribution of industry capacity. I put PFAS as an example. We can see the production of PFAS in different places. I marked the Asian countries in pink, in red. If we look at the right plot, we can see before the year 2000, most of the production of P4A, they was in Europe, North America, and less portion in Japan. So, but now in the year 2020, most of the P4A, the production capacity has been transported to China. And Japan still the similar share, and China takes the biggest share. Okay, next, please. Yeah, this is a story about the short chain chlorinated paraffins. We did a passive sampling monitoring across China, Japan, and South Korea. And what we see to the upper left, the production of short chain chlorinated product at that time in China, it's about 600,000 tons per year. It's much, much higher than United States, which is only 8,800 tons. So if we look at the picture, we can see the highest concentration of SCCP in the atmosphere definitely was corresponded to the highest production of SCCP in China, and very limited, very less in Japan and South Korea. You can see here some of my old friends, longtime friends, who are Dr. Yusuf Kobara from the National Institute of Agriculture Environmental Sciences, NIAST, in Japan, and also Dr. Nobaya-san, Saiki-san in Nice, in Tsukuba. So we collaborated from when we were very young, but now we're all getting older, reaching the almost retired. And also JJ Nan in South Korea. We made that picture at that time, very long time ago, 2007. Okay, next, please. Yes, and The second reason may be the global transfer of solid waste, because some of the countries, they make use of the solid waste, like China in 20 years ago or in before 10 years ago. So, and this solid waste, including electronic waste and plastics, they may be transferred or they may be moved from one country to another country, and they have a global road. They have an Asian road. If we look at those roads, they are actually moving along the coastal line, or in Chinese flavor, we can say it's the maritime Silk Road, because the shipping by the moving of commodities by shipping is always the cheapest way. So if we want to trade waste, we need to make use of the shipping. So that's why all the coastal area may be impacted by this kind of global transfer of solid waste. Next, please. Yes, this is another old story. And if you look at the center, at the central picture, it was from the UNEP report last year, and they put the outcome of one of our research in China, very early one in 2008, and then 2010, and they say that this may be the very first atmospheric observation of POPs in India. It was done by one of my previous PhD students, Paramita Chakraborty. As you can see at the lower right picture, he was visiting her. She was visiting her classmates the year before the COVID time. I mean, 2019. She was visiting and China again, and met with her classmates. And also I saw Paramita's picture on one of the slides by Dr. Ramesh just now. So it's very much a coincidence. I'm very happy. And at that time we found probably, I think it's also the first evidence that the shipbreaking activity along the Indian coastal line may be an important source for PCB and PBD and other flame retardants along the Indian coastal line. I think the picture was taken in Along, the city is Along. Okay, next, please. So the final reason the last reason may be the PCB, maybe the POPs can be transferred by global fish trade. This is uncovered by some of the very good scientists, like my friend Jianming Ma now in Peking University of China. They did this research. They draw the road of the fish trade and the PCB transfer along the fish trade, and also the health risk being transferred by the fishing trade. As if we look at this picture, we can see lots of the health risk come from fish consumption in Australia. They were from other places across the world. That the most important export region in the world is Western Europe. They transport this to Africa. They transport this to China because we like to eat their salmons. Okay, next, please. Next, please. Okay, so on the basis of what I have just introduced, two slides previous, 2 slides back, sorry. Then, yeah, I actually have a research program which I call it, the next one please, the Southern Contaminants Program. It's corresponded to the North and South Contaminants Program of Canada. So this is the Chinese one. We call it the Southern Contaminants Program. We want to look at the POPs problem along the global south or along the maritime Silk Road. Next, please. So by this, we set up a passive air sampling network covering 19 countries and regions across the global south, including 45 cities, with help from many volunteers from different countries. Next. Yes, I can share with you some of the unpublished data here. It's quite preliminary. We can see the PCB concentrations with 209 congeners in the atmosphere of 20 developing countries. We can see the two hotspots. One is Ghana due to electronic waste. They are receiving a lot. And another one is India, still India. I think the fish breaking activity in India should be very much paid attention to. Next, please. Okay, for PBD, also Ghana and India. And for novel brominated flame retardants, it's India and Myanmar. For short-chain chlorinated and the mid-chain chlorinated paraffins, we are quite close in the concentration levels. Relatively higher, we can see India, and we can see Nigeria. For DDT, the highest concentration up to 1 nanogram per cubic meter, which is pretty much high at this time, was found in Chittagong in Bangladesh. So I think Bangladesh, they may still using DDT for maybe for malaria control or for senility. Yes. Okay, next. Just a quick show of the result. Okay, we also did some tailored study. It's like this one. Professor Habib is now with me in another in office just nearby my office. He's visiting me, and we collaborate to do a screening of POPs in Bangladesh, the major 6 cities in Bangladesh. And for each city, we have many sampling size. We hope that we can finally give a picture of POPs situation in Bangladesh. Next, please. Yes, one of my new research project is we call the ANSO program, Moratoksa. And ANSO is the Alliance of International Science Organizations. It's established by Chinese Academy of Sciences for the Green Belt and the Road initiatives of China. So we have selected pick out 6 countries, 6 cities along the maritime Silk Road, and we set up active air sampler, which is more difficult than passive air sampler. Those partners including Pakistan, Sri Lanka. I'm also very happy to see Dr. Karul in the audience. Very nice to meet him here in Sri Lanka. Also Professor Habib in Bangladesh. Also Malaysia, the University of Malaga, and CSIR in Ghana, and the University of Nairobi in Kenya. Next, please. Yes, we set up this kind of customly made, very portable active air sampler, and we use sandwiched puff XAD and a puff cartridge to collect both the particulate and also the gaseous phase pops in the air of the 6 cities. Next, please. We did that. We have done that for almost 1.5 years. Yeah, so I can show you some of the data, and this paper collaborate with Dr. Roland Weber. It's now under review. We first look at the hexachlorobutadiene, HCBD, which is a POPs newly listed in the Stockholm Convention list. And it's what we found that in my city, Guangzhou, we had the highest concentration in the air than any other cities during our campaign. And the other cities like Accra in Ghana, Dhaka in Bangladesh, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Islamabad in Pakistan, and Nairobi in Kenya, they are quite close at a very low level. So this may be I mean, this kind of HCBD, we can directly relate this to petrochemical industry, which is quite strong in my city. Next, please. This is a ops on intentionally produced POPs. And the second one is industrial chemical, which is called the volatile methylated siloxane, VMS. And the VMS may be like a D4, D5, D6 may be proposed by some of the European scientists to the Stockholm Convention. They want them to include these kind of things in the list, but I think there are still lots of debate over this. So we took advantage of our campaign and look at this the concentration of these compounds in the atmosphere, compare them among the 6 cities. We also found the highest concentration is in my city. I'm sorry to say that at this point, because this kind of compounds, they are used mainly for cosmetic chemical industry to produce perfume, to produce any other cosmetic products, to enhance the property of those products. And we can also see that the composition of this kind of compounds in Guangzhou, in my city, is different from the other cities. They use mostly products, but in my cities, we produce it. And actually, in China, we produced siloxane. The production is higher than 6 million tons in the year of 2022, ranked world top 1. But in my city, in particular, we have nearly 2,000 cosmetics producers. They use these kind of things to produce lots of products and ship the products to the other parts of the world. So any of you, if you want to do business with cosmetic products, beauty products, just come to my city, Guangzhou. We have a so-called Guangzhou International Beauty Expo. You can have everything here. But in the meantime, it leaves high concentration of VMS or D4, D5, D6 in the atmosphere in my city. Okay, next. Next, please. I think the last one. The last one is for this ANSWER program. We have a parallel program. It's called the ANSWER training program. The previous one, back one. One slide back, please. It's not working. Anyway. Okay, yes. We have this kind of training courses. Next. Okay. For the monitoring and risk assessment of persistent toxic substances in the environment. And we have done this once and twice, and we want to do it maybe in September this year. If anyone is interested, please send me an email at this address, zhanggan@gig.ac.cn. And we provide 2 weeks of seminars, including hands-on trainings on POPs analysis, including sampling, from sampling to instrumental analysis, also chemical pretreatment, etc. You're welcome to contact me if you want to join. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Zhang, for all your research on POPs for more than 25 years and for supporting countries in the region, Pakistan, Bangladesh, others, for capacity building, even also to Africa. And I know that you're also active in South America and that you want to continue this capacity building and offer this opportunity for September. So to participants, please, those which are interested, contact. There was one comment from Professor Habib. So he is saying that the high levels of DDT at Chittagong in Bangladesh is due to the broken warehouse of DDT. Yeah, and the need, of course, of fixing this and managing it. But I also know that Bangladesh is a bit behind with NIP updates, so I hope that this can progress soon, including then also fixing of this problem. I have one question. So for Myanmar, I have seen that there were high levels of PCB, but also high levels of brominated flame retardants. Do you know where this monitoring station is?
It's more than one site, actually. To be honest, I don't know, but we have a record. I will dig it out.
Yeah,
I
okay,
think
good to
it's
know, because
I think it's
I work
coastal.
with
I think
Myanmar. I
it's
know that
coastal.
there is also people from Myanmar online. Yeah. So also for Myanmar, it would be super to fix this. Then we will come to our next presenter. That's Dr. Chen Hexiao. He is assistant to director of Guangxi Research Academy of Environmental Science and the director of Guangxi Environmental Protection International Cooperation and Exchange Center in Nanning. Over to you, Dr. Hexiao.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for having this chance to join this roundtable.
Very welcome.
Because I heard that the previous presenters are all regional experts or international experts. As in my share, I would like to share from the provincial academic for the research on hops in Guangxi. Next slide, thank you. I would like to share in three aspects. First, I would like to have a short introduction of my academic, and then I will introduce the progress of research of hops in Guangxi, and then I would like to share my cooperation vision. Next. Next, please. Yeah, Guangxi is a province that located in the southern of China, and it is very special because it is the neighbor. It is neighbor with the Vietnam, and it is the front gate of China that connected to the ASEAN countries. So founded in 1974, the academic was also operates as Guangxi Environmental Protection International Cooperation and Exchange Center. Next, thank you. My academy was directly under the Department of Ecological and Environment Department of Guangxi. So our business code was included almost all the elements of environmental protection. As for the POP research, we have the planning and assessment, and also we have the investigation and analysis. Also EIA, and also the environmental consulting and other international cooperation affairs. Next, please. We have at different. Oh, sorry for the slides is changed. Yeah. For the government, we have provides the technical support to the province government, and for universities, our academic was have the foundation research connection with universities, and for the institutes, we also have the technology developed, and also for the enterprise, we have the application of the technologies, and we also have key partners from China, in Guangxi, or international. Next, thank you. Next, I would like to share the progress of the research. for the provincial level, the research or the manage of the POPs under the National Action Plan for the governance. So in the provincial level, I would like to share the emerging pollutants. Guangxi was the first province in China to issue the Guangxi Work Plan for governance for emerging pollutants. And this plan was under the support with my academic. Next, thank you. We have two teams to have the research on the emergent POPs. The first is the Environmental Analysis and Testing Center, and we also have the Emergent Pollutants and Solid Waste Research Center that work on 4 key areas. The first one is the monitoring, risk assessment, and the mitigation technology for POPs. And the second area is sustainable waste management. And we also have the research on the pollution health risks and intelligent prevention systems. And the last one is the development of pollutant control policy frameworks and technical standards. That's what I say, the technical support for the governments. Next, thank you. Based on our research, or I can say our works, we have established a dynamic chemical substance database in Guangxi, and we also establish a monitoring framework for POPs. Next. We also have invest totally around 50 million RMB to establish a laboratory for POPs, including 380 instruments. Yeah, thank you. Next. These are some projects that we are now ongoing for the POPs risk identification and assessment to control. You can see the red. We are working on the urban surface water and the marine agriculture industries and the Guangxi urban aquatic systems. This was the what our governments need to meet our government to control the POPs. Next. These are some results that outcome from our research. We have the high efficiency derivation of POPs. We have access of POPs in the mariculture areas. And next. Next slide, please. And we will also have the multimedia distribution and SSDS of the DHP. Next, thank you. We have cooperations with the team of academicians of Chinese Academy of Science, like Jiang Guibin, and the international expert like our friend Dr. Roland. Next. Also, as I say, Guangxi is very close to the ASEAN country, so my academic, Dr. Sun has led the delegation to visit Vietnam and meet Dr. Min, and we also visit the BCRC Indonesia, but unfortunately, we haven't seen the Dr. Anton in face, yeah. And we also have invited the Green Envoys, that's the young scientists or the experts from the ASEAN country to visit the labs of our academic. Next. Last, I would like to share some vision for cooperation. First, our academic would like to build a regional environmental health joint research platform, and we like to have some project cooperation on POPs, and then the last one is the talent training and capacity building. Next, please. This is the project my academic was under construction. That is the Sino-China Joint Institutes on Environmental Science and Technology. Next, please. Under these institutes, we would like to invite all the cooperation partners to join to have the quality to build some platforms, including the eco-environment protection smart laboratory, and we would like to also to have the technical research center for almost all environment elements, and also we have the center for the POPs. Next. For different partners, our direction for universities at home and abroad, we would like to have the industry and education research cooperation and exchange. Also, we would like to have high-level talent training and resource sharing. For international eco-environment research institutions, we would like to have joint R&D of key technologies, and we also have the like to have the policy research and consulting, and also the talent exchange. And for the enterprises, we like also to have the cooperation on the innovation of technologies, and also to have the technology implementations. Also, the resource we can together to promote the research. Next. In the end, I would like to introduce the ASEAN-China Environmental Cooperation Forum. This forum was organized by hosted by the Ministry of Ecological and Environment of China, and co-hosted by the government of Guangxi government, and also held by the Department of Ecological and Environment of Guangxi, and also supported by the Ministry of Ecology and Environment of ASEAN countries. The first this forum was held in 2011, and in this year we will hold it in the late October. So if you would like to have some policy dialogue, or also have some exchange or discussions on policy, maybe we can have a sub-forum on the whole under this form. Yeah, next. And this is the software from the provincial academic for the environmental science, and I'm very happy to have this chance to share with you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Hexiao, for the effort of your institute for this South-South cooperation, for the capacity building. And if I understand correctly, you are just starting now. You have cooperations now with the first two countries, Vietnam and Indonesia, but you will progress with other countries. So I think very much appreciated this South-South cooperation. I mean, the advantage what I see is with your institute that you are a governmental institute and have also the monitoring task in your province. This means you understand what from governmental side is needed for kind of data and monitoring approach. It is now not only just research, but it is kind of applied research which supports a government. Yeah, so this is for sure very useful. Then we come to the next researcher. That's Professor Jun Huang from Tsinghua University, which is at the same time also the Basel and Stockholm Regional Center of China. I have invited Professor Huang because he's highly experienced in PFAS monitoring, including the hardcore PFAS monitoring in technical products, including firefighting foams. And I think that this is a topic probably relevant for all countries, but there is hardly any capacity to do that in low-income countries. So therefore, please, over to you, Professor Huang.
Thanks very much, Dr. Weber. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be involved in this important event. As mentioned by Roland, I'm a professor at Tsinghua University. Also, we have the BCRC China, but for today's talk, I only focus on a very specific topic instead of the introduction of the POPs related activities conducted by the BCRC. So with the discussion with Roland, I will just talk about the PFAS analysis in firefighting foams. The contents include 3 parts. I will introduce a bit about the background and then the methodology and then our practice in China. First, let's have a look at the background. I believe most of you know the HFF foam very well. It's specially designed for the for the firefighting for the Class B fires, which was caused by the flammable liquid, like the organic solvent, like the oil, petroleum, yeah, something like this. But actually, if we have a look at the details, we can see there are many formulations. Not only the HFF, we also have the FP and FFP, as well as the alcohol-resistant formulations. So the fluorinated foams, I mean, we can find the PFAS in the foams as the predominant formulations on the market. So for such a reason, it's very important to understand the PFAS profile in these foam formulations. In this case, we can better understand the source of PFAS in our environment. Next slide, please. It's easy to understand that if we cannot understand the source, then we cannot understand the PFAS contamination very well. This slide showed the way how the PFAS can originally in the foam can enter into our tap water. Just imagine, yeah, when we have the fire, the priority is to extinguish the fire instead of to control the contamination. So in most cases, the foam will just flow into the ambient environment. First, we have the soil and the water contamination, and then we can further have the contamination in the drinking water source. And finally, we got the PFAS in our drinking water, and then the PFAS enter into our body, and which is will cause the significant concerns. Okay, next slide, please. On this slide, we can see this is a brief summary of the history of the PFAS containing foams. Basically, it lasted for 60 years. From 1963, when we can see the first patent from the US Navy. This is actually the beginning of the HFF. And then we can see just 2 years ago, it is the DOD of the United States. Basically, they gave up the original idea of the HFF. They require that the organofluorine containing foams should be replaced by the fluorine-free foams. So if we have a look at the change of the formulations in the past 60 years, we can see the chemistry actually shifted significantly from originally the long chain PFAS to the short chain, from the ECF formulations to the polymer-based formulations. So in some special cases, we can also find some other organofluorine surfactant like the OBS in China and some Asian countries. So it's easy to imagine we are now facing a quite complicated situation if we wanted to understand the PFAS contamination in the foam and the foam affected environmental media. Okay, next slide, please. Here, I give some examples about the regulatory limits of PFAS in the foams. In EU, we can see the current POPs regulation actually includes several numbers for the specific PFAS categories. Also, there's a number, 1,000 ppb for the total PFAS have been proposed. In the United States, we can see the new military specification actually proposed 1 ppb as the regulatory limit. In Australia, Queensland, we can see they set actually quite a detailed limits. It depends on the formulation, whether it's fluorine contained or it's fluorine free, or it's based on the short chain C6 pure form. They have the different numbers. Next one, please. Now let's move forward to the next part to address. Sorry, yeah, go back there. Let's think about the methodologies we can use to get the numbers of the PFAS concentration. Here there is a whole picture about those available tools for PFAS analysis in foam samples. We can use the routine test methods. It's based on the targeted PFAS. Direct analysis use the LC tandem MS and the GCMS for the neutral PFAS. Also, we have other options. For example, we can use the total oxidizable precursors. We call it the top assay. It's based on the heat-activated persulfate oxidation as a pretreatment, and then we use the LC and the MS for the targeted analysis. For the top assay, the advantage it is always we can get higher concentration as a result. The reason is that the oxidation pretreatment can convert those precursors in the samples into the detectable PFCs. The other option is to use the combustion ion chromatography. The high temperature combustion can convert the organic fluorine into the inorganic fluoride. Then in this case, can be easily detected by the ion chromatography. In this case, we can get the total organic fluorine concentration, which actually is in the concentration of the converted fluoride, the inorganic, but it can provide us an idea what's the total contamination of the fluorine in our sample. For the academic research purpose, sometimes we want to address the gap we always can find in terms of the fluorine mass balance. Then we need the advanced tools like the LC high resolution MS. We can use the time of flight MS or use the orbit trap MS yet for the untargeted analysis. But in this case, the methodology can be quite complicated. In our lab, we have all these tools. So we applied these methods into the practice of in Chinese market. Next one, please. Before I show the data from the China's practice, I would like to share two new tools we developed. The first one is we call it the Topper Plus. The idea is to try to shorten the required time. As you know, the Topper assay normally need 6 hours for the pre-treatment. It's too time consuming. So we developed this new tool. It utilizes the ultraviolet UV light for the activation purpose. Then in this case, we can significantly shorten the required time from 6 hours to 1 hour. So the efficiency can be significantly improved. So this is the main difference. On the slide you can find the publication. So if you have interest, you can download this paper and try to use this method. It's really efficient. Okay, next one, please. The other approach, just in case you have the same problem in several years ago, we have no combustion ion chromatography. So we try to develop the alternative way. So this is our solution. We can use the hydrated electron to reduce the organic fluorine into the inorganic fluoride. We call this method the total reducible organic fluorine. With the irradiation of the UV light and with the existence of the salt in the solution, here we can see the chemistry on this screen. The generated hydrated electron can be quite efficient in convert the organic fluorine into the inorganic fluoride. Then it can be easily detected by the normal ion chromatography. Next one, please. Okay, so now let's have a look at the data in those foam samples in Chinese market. We all know that the PFAS actually comes from the foam surfactants we used in the foam formulations. So here I just focus on the detected PFAS in the surfactants we dedicated for the foam formulation. Here we can see the direct analysis and the Topper assay, the results. This is the comparison for the older version. I mean the ECF PFAS based products. We can see quite different patterns. The detected concentration of the PFOS on the left side is quite high. After the conversion, we can see some PFCs, the concentration basically increased. Next one, please. Then, as you know, China, with financial support from the GEF, we conducted a full-size project, the reduction and phase out of PFOS in priority industries in China. Under the framework of this project, we can imagine one important objective is to phase out the PFOS in firefighting foams. So for such a reason, there are some Chinese companies, they want to develop their own surfactants, which can eliminate the PFOS in their products. So here is a summary. Yeah, the old version and the new version. We can see the on the left side, it's direct analysis results, and on the right side, it's the top assay analysis results. So we can see the difference between the direct analysis and the converted, the precursor analysis. Also, we can find the difference between the old version and the new version. Next slide, please. Here, let's have a look at the PFCS increase under the top class assay. So just to have a look at the number, we can see the detected concentration basically increased significantly after the oxidation pretreatment. Next slide, please. Yeah, similarly, we can see for the different surfactants samples, we can see such a increasing trend. Next slide, please. Here is a summary of the normal top assay and the new top plus assay. Basically, we can see that results from both methods are quite comparable. And if we check the details, we can find that actually top plus assay seemed to be more efficient for the conversion. The reason is easy to understand because under the radiation of the UV light, the oxidation potential can be strengthened. Next slide, please. Okay, let's go here. We can see the results of the high resolution MS for the advanced determination of, we can try to understand what are those unknown PFAS. Here is a summary. On the left side, we showed the workflow we used for the suspect screening and the non-targeted analysis based on the high resolution MS. On the right side, we just give the example of those 622 telomer as a common component, while on the right side, we can see the difference as the AND group. In summary, we can say that based on the results of the Chinese foam surfactants and those foam samples, we can see about 70 different PFAS structures can be found. Next slide, please. Yeah, with the test data from different methods, we can try to make the PCA analysis. On this slide, we can see it's quite interesting to see for the ECF-based surfactant, for the telomer-based surfactant, they can be easily distinguished by the PCA analysis. And also we can see the similarity between the domestic, samples, I mean the Chinese formulations developed by the domestic companies. It seems that the PFAS profile in the domestic formulations is quite similar to the imported formulations from the American company. Okay, next slide, please. Also, we can use the test data to check whether or not these formulations can meet the requirements of the PFAS limits in different countries. So on the left side, this is just one example. On the right side, here are some detailed data, for the foam samples, the HVF, we have the different products. Okay, next slide, please. Finally, I want to conclude my talk. First, regulatory limits for PFAS in foams already existed in EU, USA, and other countries, which require comprehensive test methods such as the targeted PFAS analysis, TOF-SA, TOF by the combustion ion chromatography, etc. Second, the test methods and instruments are well developed for the purpose. We can use the CIC to test the TOF or the EOF. We can use the LC tandem MS for the targeted PFAS. Also, we can use the GCMS for the determination of the neutral PFAS, especially for the FTOH. Third, advanced suspect and untargeted analysis using high-resolution MS can provide additional information about unknown PFAS, which can be useful to realize the fluorine mass balance for the test results. Finally, the practice in China demonstrates the substitution of PFOS-based foams to C6 thallium-based foams, which can be attributed to China's responsible implementation of the Stockholm Convention. Okay, that's my presentation. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Huang, for this good presentation and good insights how firefighting foams can be monitored. Also, you are doing capacity building in the south, right? You had a Pakistan PhD student working on firefighting foams. You had African students. So also thanks for this. Professor Zhang and Dr. Ramesh, do you have questions? Raising your hand. Dr. Ramesh, do you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I just raised for the photo.
No, that's okay. Good. Good. So for everybody, also the attendants, if you want to be on the picture after the next presentation, then raise your hand and we'll make you as a panelist, then you can open your camera. Also to the attendees. So we come now to the last presentation, last not least, of Dr. Yasuyuki Shibata from National Institute of Environmental Studies, Science in Nice. He is emeritus there. For many years, he was responsible also from the Japanese side for the global monitoring program of UNEP. And you heard today that Nice have done a range of capacity building, Dr. Kashiwara, monitoring of the plastic recycling samples with Professor Gan Zhang. So therefore, Nice is one key institute here in the Asian region for capacity building on POPs and supporting the regional monitoring. Over to you, Dr. Shibata.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roland. First of all, thank you very much for providing me this very interesting opportunity to join this roundtable discussion. And I'm really a retired scientist, and so I have some experiences in the international cooperation among the monitoring of POPs in Asian region. And so based on my experience, I'd like to report several topics in this presentation. Next slide, please. So as you know well, current chemical management relies on risk assessment approach. So in this approach, pollutant levels are controlled below their toxicity levels so that there will be no health risks caused by the pollutants. But in each country, safety levels of pollutants in the environment or from emission sources are set, and their clearance status are regularly monitored. New emission sources are also looked for. So analytical techniques for these purposes should be reliable and able to quantify standard levels of various environmental measures accurately. Next step, please. Yes. On the other hand, in the international levels, such as effectiveness evaluation of Stockholm Convention, so-called background monitoring will be conducted. Background means a location far from any sources of target pollutants so that monitoring data at that site will reflect pollutant levels and their transport in wide areas around the site. So simply speaking, a cleanest site in each country will be selected, and low levels of pollutants are periodically analyzed with very sensitive analytical method in order to reveal their long-term trends over time. Next slide, please. I will show some examples of supporting activity of Japan to implement environmental monitoring in Asian countries. For the national monitoring, JICA has been playing key roles by setting up research centers and training or educating scientists and policymakers with help of many Japanese scientists, researchers, companies, and academia. And the United Nations University conducted a unique capacity building enhancement program with a private company, Shimazu Corporation. Shimazu provided analytical instrument to the participants and conducted training for the analysis of pollutants. Also, many local governments in Japan have their own research institute, which conduct regular environmental monitoring, and also they support these activities frequently. There are also many academic activities, such as Japan Society for Environmental Chemistry, and also many professors in the universities who promote research activities in foreign countries by receiving students or researchers, or by organizing international symposium, and by conducting collaborative studies with scientists in each country. Next slide, please. In the international level, on the other hand,
One slide back.
One slide back, please. Yes, at the international level, on the other hand, one is more sophisticated, highly sensitive, and expensive analytical system to reveal long-term trends of pollutants at background site. So this was really a big challenge for developing countries, which did not have enough capacity to monitor pollutants even in higher concentrations in each country. Therefore, Ministry of the Environment Japan started a program on the POPs monitoring in East Asian countries in 2002. And to support effectiveness evaluation of the convention, POPs management and monitoring techniques have been discussed among countries in the workshop. And also capacity building activities has been conducted by providing high volume samples to each country and conduct a training to do sampling and provide data to the convention. And Republic of Korea also started POPs analytical training from 2011 under the framework of this workshop. And Japan and Korea separately conducted a bilateral cooperation program on endocrine disrupting chemicals and also POPs monitoring since 2001. And through this activity, they harmonize POPs monitoring and sampling method together. And these international and bilateral programs have been synergistically supporting capacity building on POPs monitoring, management analysis in East Asian countries. And next slide, please. Usually, passive sampling methods have been used successfully to implement in several POPs monitoring programs in order to provide long-term trend of POPs in background air with limited number of average data. In POPs monitoring East Asian program, on the other hand, active sampling using high volume sampler have been used for the sampling due to its wide applicability to other purposes, including national monitoring and also source identification. Also, high volume sampling will provide us with information regarding long-range transport of POPs, which is another information requested in the Article 16 of the Convention. So in East Asian POPs monitoring program, both Japan and Korea conducted a long-term monthly air monitoring using high-volume sampler in remote islands, that is Okinawa in Japan and also Jeju Island in Korea. And next step, please. One more, please. And interestingly, in both locations, we see a very clear temporal trend decrease of DDT levels in the atmosphere. So this means that DDT levels are declining very rapidly after the entry into force of the Stockholm Convention in these areas. Next step, please. I think just one, yes. However, if you take the ratio between orthoparapram DDT and paraparapram DDT, then you will see some seasonal changes, which is more clear by the next step, please, which is more clear by taking average, 5-point averages in this region. So this is interesting. Why the ratio is lower in summer and higher in winter? Next slide, please. And one more, yes. And usually DDT, in the case of DDT, paraparapram DDT is a major constituent. So we see a rather lower level ratio between orthoparapram DDT and paraparapram DDT. But in China, on the other hand, after the entry into force of the convention, China still continue production of DDT for the synthesis of dicopol, other organ-harvesting compounds, pesticide. And during this synthesis, paraparapram DDT is efficiently and quantitatively hydroxylated to make dicopol. But on the other hand, orthoparapram DDT is not. As a result, the product dicopol contains fair amount of orthoparapram DDT other impurities. And next step, please. And as a result, in the atmosphere of China, some researchers found fairly high level of orthoparapram DDT. And in Okinawa Island, it is affected by Asian monsoon. Therefore, in the summer season, the air comes from Pacific Ocean, but in winter season, it comes from continent. This is the reason why we see a higher level of orthoparapram DDT only in winter season in Okinawa. And next, please. And next, please. So this is just a summary. And so environment monitoring has a different purposes. And of course, there are several different analytical and sampling methods for the monitoring. And of course, the price is different. And in some cases, particularly in the case of background monitoring, we need sometimes very expensive and tedious monitoring method for the analysis. But on the other hand, such a monitoring method will give us more information compared with passive sampling. And capacity building should include not only analytical techniques, but also monitoring design and interpretation of data. So all such information will be very important to support the environmental monitoring capacity building activities in the world. I think this is a very important point based on our experiences. And also, I would like to point out one more point. It was very interesting to see the information from Professor Zhang and his presentation on hexachlorobutadiene, HCBD. They found very high level of CBD in China, in some particular places in China. In Japan, we also conduct monitoring of HCBD using low volume sampling method using Tenax as a solvent. And using these techniques, we sometimes see more than 10 nanogram per cubic meter size level of SCBD in Japanese environment, which apparently suggests the long-range transport of SCBD from nearby country, probably China. And I think we have more collaboration studies with other countries. Thank you very much for your interest.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Shibata. Thank you very much to NIS for this regional support. Also, I think we need to highlight the Ehime University, who did capacity building, for example, of Professor Tu Big Min, who was here. Also, MTech recently visited NIS for capacity building for chlorinated paraffin, and now also they have exchange with ICE on PFAS. So Japan also is doing a great job on POP capacity building. We have gone a bit over time. Sorry for this, but I think every slide we saw today were valuable to see. So I think now we can take a picture of our today round table to make it really round. And I thank everybody, the attendance. We have replied to all questions, I think. And also Anastasia already said that we will share we will share the information, we will share the slides, we will share the contacts, and hope that we could contribute here to the collaboration in networking, and we wish that this kind of collaboration increase in future more and more. Anastasia, do you have people
Thank
all
you.
there? Can you put it on one?
Thank you very much, Roland. I think everyone is on the screen so far. People can keep joining us. So maybe just 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, Roland, do you think we have everyone?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you make the picture, and then in 30 seconds you make a second picture. Yes, Professor Too Big Min is also there. Okay, good.
Okay,
yes, your hair is okay. Okay, all smile, spaghetti.
Maybe
Okay.
one last one.
Okay.
So share the photos with all the participants.
Okay, super.
Thank you
Good.
so much, everyone.
Then we will share also our Minimeter. So afterwards, GGKP will make a follow-up email with all the information from the workshop, but also with all the inputs you gave on research needs on POPs. We will share the result, and we hope, you stay tuned for next webinars of GGKP. You can also look to our regional roundtable of Africa, and also this roundtable on Asia will be online in a few days on GGKP platform. So then I wish all good progress for your research, also for the policymakers. Communicate with the researchers, and to the researchers communicate with your policymakers, to make a common progress. And I wish you good luck for this. And for today, I think we can close that we do not go too much more over time. Okay, so bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye. Bye.
Very welcome. Also, thanks.
Thank you.